We have 5 minutes, right? No.
Testing 1, 2, 3.
Yep, got it.
Can members take your seats? And are we ready to go live? Yeah. Okay. Good afternoon. I am Vice Chair Ken Kerr. I am filling in as chair today for Chair Melissa Wells, who is on work travel this afternoon. So before we get started, please make sure that you have set your electronic devices to vibrate. And I have to ask your patience if we run into any technical difficulties today. This is the first time we have used our technology in a bill hearing in our new committee room. So we are likely to encounter some difficulties, so please bear with us. As a reminder, there's no eating or drinking in the gallery. You'll see that some of us up here do have drinks because sometimes we're here for many hours at a time without the ability to have a break. For each bill, we will hear from the sponsor and their panel, followed by all in-person witnesses, then virtual witnesses. Witnesses in each group will be heard in the following order. We'll hear from the favorable panel, favorable with amendments, and then unfavorable panels. If there's a large number of witnesses, which is not the case today, we may alternate between the two. Testimony is limited to 2 minutes. For witnesses, sponsor testimony will not be timed, but please be courteous and use your time wisely. And with that, we will get started with our first bill hearing session of a new committee with House Bill 260, which is a departmental bill. And we have Aaron Hustings and we have the director. Okay.
Sure. Sure, thank you. Well, thank you. Thank you, Vice Chair, and thank you to the Committee of Lego, I think it is, correct? Is that the, right? Yeah, so I like
Thank you. You've just made a lot of friends here.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. I like that elections is at least second then in that scenario rather than last. So, but thank you. So Jared Demarinis, the State Administrator of Elections, here presenting our departmental bill. This is a simple bill, but since it's a brand new committee and I want to just give a little brief history about it. Right now, Maryland has had a public financing entity and also program since 1974. It was just for the gubernatorial election year. And for many, many years, from 1974 to about 2016 or so, it was pretty much dormant for a long period of time. And then it was only used once in that period. And then after 2016, it has been used multiple times in almost every subsequent election. In 2013, the Maryland General Assembly allowed counties then to have public financing programs. The county's public financing programs came out outside of Citizens United and have modernized the approach of which we always did public financing. So in the past, in the 1970s version, it was more of a primary match with an expenditure limit coupled with a grant at the end of it, basically similar to what we had for the presidential elections. The counties, because we wanted to give them some options, they changed how we wanted to look at it based upon the current climates and recent Supreme Court decisions. The match was much greater, and there was only a limit as to the amount of money that a campaign that voluntarily went into this program could get. Then a couple of years ago, the General Assembly decided to revamp the gubernatorial program to match very similar to what the counties had did because it was very successful at the county level. So we got rid of the grant, we've got rid of the one-for-one match, and made it much more restrictive on how they raise money, the qualifications in which they would receive money, and just created a higher cap. The program itself then was when a campaign was able to receive a distribution from the Fair Campaign Finance Fund, because it's a segregated fund, and all the monies that you pay for candidate filing fees, your late filing fees, if you didn't actually file your campaign finance report today, you'll be starting to get charged tomorrow. So those funds would actually go into the Fair Campaign Finance Fund. That's how it gets funded. The law, when we passed it, kept it when the first day that a certified candidate in the gubernatorial program was able to receive public funds, and that would be January 1st of the year of the election. In looking at it, all the county programs that have been successful have always started it almost a year prior to when the primary occurs, because the primary election is prevalent and needed to start fundraising. This departmental bill is basically moving back that deadline for distribution, for the first distribution from January 1st of the year of the election, which would be this year, to July 1st, the year prior to the election. So it's almost 1 year that a candidate would then have eligible to receive public funds for a gubernatorial election. Again, this is just for a gubernatorial election. The program itself is not being amended. The requirements for certification are not being amended, nor any sort of restrictions on how they fundraise. All it is doing is moving back. Because it's a new committee, I just wanted to give you a brief history of public financing in the state here. All we're doing is moving it back, allowing candidates who have been certified in the program to have access to the funds a little bit sooner. It wouldn't matter for this election year because it's already occurred, but in 4 years from now, when we have another gubernatorial election, it could make a difference as people start making determinations. So that's the bill in a nutshell, and I look forward to a favorable ruling. Thank you.
Thank you. Questions from the committee? Delegate Fair.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Appreciate it. Thank you so much for coming and presenting the bill. Mr. Demarinis, a question is very simple. Just so for the edification of the committee, what does it take for us to receive public financing through this program? How many donors do they have to bring in? How much money? What is the objective here for this?
So it's about 1,500 individual contributors that are residents of the state that give $250 or less, and you have to have $120,000 in the raised that method before a public distribution can occur. So this is not something where it's, you have 5 people and you automatically qualify and you get the match. You have to meet a high threshold in order to receive those funds initially. And so it kind of weeds out some of the non-serious candidates.
And the goal is really to encourage low-dollar donors to get engaged in the process?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
That's always been the mission on it.
Other questions from the committee? Yes. And Mr. Demarinis, can we ask you to speak closer to the mic, please? Delegate Fisher.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Question, Jared, how are you?
Good.
My question is, was it always January 1?
Yes.
Okay.
That's why we're moving it back, because this was always in the past, that's how it was for when you had the initial distribution of it. But in looking at with the counties and how successful the counties are and their programs, that it helps with.
And it applies to gubernatorial
only.
elections. So why are we doing this bill this year when it's not relevant for the election for Wes Moore and his opponent as opposed to maybe last year?
We had time to do it this year, and we did it as a departmental.
Got it. Thank you.
Seeing no other questions, that will bring the bill hearing for House Bill 262 an end. Are you also the primary witness for House Bill 265?
The address confidentiality, yes.
Also, your staff didn't sign you up correctly, so I'll need you to meet with the committee manager afterwards.
Exactly right, yes.
So we can get your information
Exactly
correct
right.
for
But
the
this one's
record.
not my departmental. This is the Secretary of State, so we're just ruling in favorably on this one here.
Okay.
So, yes.
Just meet with Rory after the
Sure.
hearing, and we'll get you properly. Okay, let's move on to House Bill 265. And go ahead whenever you're ready.
Sure. Jared Demarinis, State Administrator of Elections. This is the Secretary of State's departmental bill, but we support this bill as a part of our initiatives here. The address confidentiality program, it helps survivors of domestic violence, abuse, stalking to have their address basically, as it says, it'd be confidential. This program here is just going to designate a person at the State Board of Elections as a point person for, training, outreach for the program, so that individuals have one single point of contact to get their ballots and making sure that they're not disenfranchised due to, I would say, extraordinary circumstances. So it is an initiative that I've been working on and promoting with additional outreach. Every time Survivors of Domestic Violence Month comes out, we always make sure we have a press release about that. No one should be disenfranchised based upon a situation that is beyond their control, and they should, make sure that they can vote with confidence. And this program here helps with that outreach effort. Thank you, and I look forward to a favorable report from the committee. Lego again.
Are there questions from the committee for the witness? Delegate Ruth.
Mr. Chair. Thank you, Mr. Demarinis. It's great to see you. Just a quick question. In the text, it adds, including absentee ballots for the actual address. That's not revealing their address, is it?
No, but it's
Okay.
just making sure that they get the right ballot style.
Okay.
Based upon where they actually live, but it's not public, and it's working with the Secretary of State so we
Great.
know where to mail it to, or to actually making sure that they're voting for the right individuals.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Delegate Sample Hughes.
Thank you for being here today, explaining the bill, and thank you. This is certainly necessary. Just wanted to understand, and just because I haven't read it that quickly, but for your local Board of Elections, are they trained as well, like the director of the Board of Elections, or they don't have too much to do with this? It's just strictly what everything goes to your office?
So now, by having this point person here, yes, this would make life, it streamlines the process, and it allows, when they have questions or anything, that we have one particular point of reference in our office to deal with those questions for the local boards in handling these issues. It would also relieve those burdens from them, so that if they get any sort of these requests, that they know to come to the State Board of Elections, rather than just kind of hodgepodging it or anything like that.
Oh, okay, so currently, they would try to do whatever they could do at the local level?
I would say they
and
would
then what
probably
needed your
work with the
guidance?
Secretary of State's office. Maybe they might not have all the training, the sensitivity training that might be required to it at the end of this. So this helps streamlines the process and brings it so that for public outreach, that that now we have one point of reference rather than 24.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much.
Other questions from the committee? Delegate Wu.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I have one question about the process. So once it's flagged and for the absentee ballot, when will be the status be changed back if conditions change? Is that a permanent or, that process can be adjusted along the time?
So that was more of a question for the Secretary of State's office than for me on that one there. But basically, if they're in the program, then their address would be confidential. And then if they're not in the program, then they would be reverted back to, regular status.
So basically, the Secretary of State need to inform the board election constantly.
Right.
Do you know how many people in that pool?
I don't know how many people are currently in there. I don't have the number either, but we can get that information for you.
Thank you for your effort.
Yeah.
Okay, seeing no other questions, we'll bring this hearing to a close. But as our first witness before the new committee, we would like to give you your very own Lego
Thank you.
avatar.
I wish it was an E.
Delegate Vogel, if you would like to come to the witness as our first delegate to present his own bill before the committee.
Thank you.
We would love to hear House Bill 207.
I'm still assembling my Lego here. So, Mr. Chair, committee members, former Ways and Means members, I see several of you. We miss you. I'm here with House Bill 207, which recognizes that there is a significant erosion in public trust in our democratic institutions. And when we lose that trust, authoritarianism rushes in, political extremism rushes in, and we risk losing our democracy. One of the leading causes now of a failure of trust and erosion of trust in our democratic institutions is the perception of corruption, the perception that elected officials are in it for personal gain rather than to do what is right for their constituents. And we see that with the growing distrust of the federal government, in part due to the pervasiveness now of insider trading amongst our federal representatives. This is not just a Maryland issue, but given the lack of self-regulation at the federal level, the state does have an opportunity to step in and ensure that the representatives that we have here in Maryland are held to a higher ethical standard. What HB 207 does is make a modest common sense step in that direction by requiring that the State Board of Elections includes an optional question on the initial candidacy filing form for candidates. You've all filled this out before. And for that question to allow candidates to voluntarily commit that they and their spouses will not buy, sell, or exchange individual stocks during the candidate's term of office. Again, this is a modest step forward. There is some precedent for this in the General Assembly. In 2018, the state Senate passed a bill requiring that candidates for president disclose their tax returns. I think that's slightly more legally dubious than this, which is giving the option for candidates to make this commitment and not restricting access to the ballot. With that, I urge the committee to give a favorable report on House Bill 207.
Thank you, Delegate Vogel. Questions from the committee? We will start with Delegate Fair.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you so much for bringing the bill forward. Delegate Vogel, we're looking at, you're not looking at these folks for having to disclose whether they have stocks or not, simply whether they will check off an optional box to say that they will not collect or hold stocks while in office. Is that right?
Yes, Delegate. And I think the important thing here is, there's been Supreme Court decisions on restricting access to the ballot, which is not what we're doing here. We're giving candidates the ability to optionally disclose and make a commitment that they won't engage in stock trading as members of Congress, and they can refuse to answer that question. But really, this is about transparency and giving voters more information.
That sounds great. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Delegate Wu?
Thank you. Welcome back. First one. Okay. So question for you, right? I support the idea on this legislation. At the same time, the list can go on and go on, right? So one example, are you trading your stock? One example, are you living in your district? Are you, for example, supporting Martin Luther King's Day, right? There's so many of them. I'm wondering, where's the stop point? Unless we say you're not able to trade, then you're not, if you're trading, you'll be disqualified from the ballot. That would be something really have enforceable measure there.
Yeah.
How do you feel that?
So on the last part, Delegate, I think there's the constitutional question there about restricting access to the ballot, which is not what this legislation intends to do. That would be unconstitutional. This is, again, an optional question. On the issue of where it stops, I think this is not a policy matter. This is a question of integrity and the willingness of, we have to all complete financial disclosures, right? Because we want to make sure that there is a degree of transparency and accountability into the financial integrity of our representatives at every level. So I agree. I would not want to see us start asking all these questions about people's policy preferences. This is, again, a matter of financial integrity.
Thank you very much for your effort.
And ethics, yeah.
Delegate Fisher?
Delegate Vogel, how are you?
Good to see you, sir.
Good to see you too. Could maybe one checkoff be like a blind trust? Since that would be an option, because I think a lot of people go to Congress and they have a stock portfolio and they desperately need to keep it for retirement. But maybe one option would be a blind trust where they're not allowed to see what they have or trade it. Someone else does it for them. Just an idea.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. And I think that, again, we can change the language of the question, but I think that would fall in line with not buying or selling or exchanging individual stocks yourself.
I think you have a good intent here because I actually have a good friend in Calvert County who follows the Nancy Pelosi X trading thing on X, on the platform, and they show all of her trades. And clearly, so many people have gotten, and I know she's not the only person, by the way.
It's an issue of bipartisan concern.
I agree with you, so thanks.
Delegate Tomlinson?
Good to see you.
Good to see you, sir.
Vogel. Do you know what this would actually look like on the State Board of Elections website? I mean, would there be a separate page just listing who's signed off on this, or is there going to be like an asterisk next to their name, bold letters saying, hey, this guy has agreed to it, this guy hasn't agreed to it? I'm kidding about the second part. I think you're just trying to indicate who has signed it. I don't think you're trying to highlight who hasn't signed it, right?
Sure.
But do you know, do you have an idea of what this would visually actually look like on the website?
So, great question. Ultimately, I would defer to the Board of Elections, but when this information is filled out, when you file to be a candidate, it says your Facebook page and it says your email and all this other personal information. I would envision that it would be included in that in that portion of the website.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Delegate Terraza?
Mr. Chairman, and hello, Delegate Vogel.
Hey, Delegate.
So just really quickly, is there a consequence? So let's say they sign this, and I guess these are under oath. I'm not sure if they're under oath or not. But is there a consequence if they do stock trading after that, or what? This is just sort of informational.
Exactly, Delegate. This is informational. Again, we're not trying to restrict anyone's access to the ballot. So it's ultimately up to the voters, right, to have this information and then determine whether if a federal representative does violate this, how they want to hold them accountable in the ballot box.
Great, thank you.
Any other questions? Delegate, I think the purpose of your legislation is to avoid insider trading, but this would also restrict people who are not using insider information from buying individual stocks?
Yeah, and I think thank you, Mr. Chair. I think that's a great question. I think the challenge with our federal representatives engaging in this practice is, A, they do have information that others don't have access to, but also they have the ability to manipulate markets in ways that few others do, right? We saw this around the passage of the budget bill where big Medicaid cuts were coming and some representatives chose to sell off all their stocks associated with a Medicaid provider, right? Giving them significant financial boost, knowing that A, the bill was going to pass because they have that information, and they were responsible for that bill passing, so they can manipulate markets in a number of ways. So I think across the board, there are a number of concerns with federal representatives engaging in insider trading or trading at all.
And this is just individual stocks, it's not index funds or mutual funds?
Just individual stocks.
And there's no enforcement mechanism?
Again, they're really, it's challenging to put forward an enforcement mechanism, given that we don't want to restrict access to the ballot. There's a constitutional issue there. But it's really about giving voters more information about in the same way that we give voters information on whether someone's a Democrat or Republican, right? Whether or not they choose to engage in this practice.
Okay, thank you, Delegate Fogel.
Thank you,
Any
Mr.
other
Chair.
questions from the committee? Okay, seeing none, this will end the hearing on House Bill 207. Thank you, Delegate Fogel.
Thank you.
And this also ends the work of the committee for the day. We will, Roy, what do we have tomorrow, anything? Tomorrow. Okay, looks like we have no work tomorrow either. So we will keep your eye on your email, and we'll see when we will reconvene. As for now, we are adjourned.